Chapter 5. Fairside Nursing Home is in a leafy residential road, a red brick, double-fronted building with net curtains in every single window. I survey it from the other side of the road, then turn to look at Sadie, who has been following me in silence ever since Potter's Bar Station. She came with me on the tube, but I barely saw her. She spent the whole time flitting around the carriage, looking at people, popping up to ground level and down again. So that's where you used to live, I say with an awkward brightness. It's really nice. Lovely garden. I gesture at a couple of mangy shrubs. Sadie doesn't answer. I look up and see a line of tension in her pale jaw. This must be strange for her, coming back here. I wonder how well she remembers it. Hey, how old are you anyway? I say curiously as the thought occurs to me. I mean, I know you're 105, but now, as you are here, I gesture at her. Sadie looks taken aback by the question. She examines her arms, peers at her dress, and thoughtfully rubs the fabric between her fingers. 23, she says at last. Yes, I think I'm 23. I'm doing mental calculations in my head. She was 105 when she died, which would mean you were 23 in the year 1927. That's right. Her face suddenly comes alive. We had a pajama party for my birthday. We drank gin fizzes all evening and danced till the birds started singing. Oh, I miss pajama parties. She hugs herself. Do you have many pajama parties? Does a one-night stand count as a pajama party? I'm not sure they're quite the same. I break off as a woman's face glances out of a top-floor window at me. Come on, let's go. I head briskly across the road, up the path to the wide front door and press the security buzzer. Hello? I call into the grill. I don't have an appointment, I'm afraid. There's the sound of a key in a lock and the front door opens. A woman in a blue nurse's uniform beams at me. She looks in her early 30s, with her hair tied back in a knot and a plump, pale face. Can I help you? Yes, my name's Laura, and I'm here about a former resident. I glance at Sadie. She's gone. I hurriedly scan the whole front garden, but she's totally disappeared. Bloody hell, she's left me in the lurch. A former resident? The nurse prompts me. Oh, Sadie Lancaster? Sadie, her face softens. Come in, I'm Jenny, senior staff nurse. I follow her into a linoleum-floored hall, smelling of beeswax and disinfectant. The whole place is quiet, apart from the nurse's rubber shoes squeaking on the floor and the distant sound of the TV. Through a door, I glimpse a couple of old ladies sitting in chairs with crocheted blankets over their knees. I've never really known any old people, not really, really old. Hello, I wave nervously at one white-haired lady who is sitting nearby, and her face immediately crumples in distress. Shit. Sorry, I call quietly. I didn't mean to, The nurse comes over to the white-haired lady, and in slight relief I hurry after Jenny, hoping she didn't notice. Are you a relation? She asked, showing me into a little reception room. I'm Sadie's great niece. Lovely, says the nurse, looking on the kettle. Cup of tea? We've been expecting someone to call, actually. Nobody ever picked up her stuff. That's what I'm here about. I hesitate, gearing myself up. I'm looking for a necklace, which I believe once belonged to Sadie, a glass bead necklace with a dragonfly set with rhinestones. I smile apologetically. I know it's a long shot, and I'm sure you don't even... I know the one. She nods. You know the one? I stare at her stupidly. You mean it exists? She had a few lovely bits. Jenny smiles, but that was her favorite. She wore it over and over. Right, I swallow, trying to keep calm. Could I possibly see it? It'll be in her box. Jenny nods again. If I can get you to fill in a form first, do you have any ID? Of course. I scrabble in my bag, my heart racing. I can't believe it. This was so easy. As I fill in the form, I keep looking around for Sadie, but she's nowhere to be seen. Where's she gone? She's missing a great moment. Here you are. I thrust the form at Jenny. So, can I take it away? I'm nearly next of kin. The lawyer said the next of kin weren't interested in having her personal effects, says Jenny. Her nephews, was it? We never saw them. Oh, I call her my dad and my uncle. We've been holding on to them in case they changed their minds. Jenny pushes through a swing door. But I don't see why you can't take them. She shrugs. It's nothing much, to be honest. Apart from the bits of jewelry. She stops in front of a pinboard and gestures fondly at a photo. Here she is. Here's our Sadie. It's the same wrinkled old lady from the other photo. She's wrapped in a pink lacy shawl, and there's a ribbon in her white candy floss hair. I feel a slight lump in my throat as I gaze at the picture. I just can't relate this tiny, ancient, folded-up face to Sadie's proud, elegant profile. Her 105th birthday, that was. Ginny points to another photo. You know, she's our oldest ever resident. She's had telegrams from the Queen. A birthday cake is in front of Sadie in this photo, and nurses are crowding into the picture with cups of tea and wide smiles and party hats. As I look at them, I feel a crawling shame. How come we weren't there? How come she wasn't surrounded by me and Mom and Dad and everyone? I wish I'd been there. I bite my lip. I didn't realize. It's difficult. Ginny smiles at me without reproach, which of course makes me feel a million times worse. Don't worry, she was happy enough, and I'm sure you gave her a wonderful send-off. I think back to Sadie's miserable, empty little funeral and feel even worse. Kind of. Hey, my attention is suddenly drawn by something in the photograph. Wait, is that it? That's the dragonfly necklace. Ginny nods easily. You can have that photo if you like. I take down the photo, lightheaded with disbelief. There it is, just visible, poking out of the folds of Great Aunt Sadie's shawl. There are the beads. There's the rhinestone-studded dragonfly, just as she described it. It's real. I'm so sorry none of us can make the funeral, Ginny sighs as we resume walking down the corridor. We had such staff problems this week. But we toasted her at supper. Here we are, Sadie's things. We've arrived at a small storeroom lined with dusty shelves, and she hands me a shoebox. There's an old metal-backed hairbrush inside and a couple of old paperbacks. I can see the gleam of beads coiled up at the bottom. Is this all? I'm taken aback in spite of myself. We didn't keep her clothes. Ginny makes an apologetic gesture. They weren't really hers, so to speak. She didn't choose them. But what about stuff from early in her life? What about furniture or mementos? Ginny shrugs. Sorry, I've only been here for 5 years, and Sadie was a resident for a long while. I suppose things get broken and lost and not replaced. Right. Trying to hide my shock, I start unpacking the meager things. Someone lives for 105 years, and this is all that's left, a shoebox. As I reach the jumble of necklaces and brooches at the bottom, I feel my excitement rising. I untangle all the strings of beads, searching for yellow glass, for a flash of rhinestones, for the dragonfly. It's not there. Ignoring a sudden foreboding, I shake the tangle of beads out properly and lay them straight. There are 13 necklaces in all. None of them is the right one. Ginny, I can't find the dragonfly necklace. Oh dear. Ginny peers over my shoulder in concern. It should be there. She lifts up another necklace made from tiny purple beads and smiles at it fondly. This was another favorite of hers. Really after the dragonfly necklace? I know I sound agitated. Could it be anywhere else? Ginny looks perplexed. This is strange. Let's check with Harriet. She did the clear out. I follow her back down the corridor and through a door marked staff. Inside is a small cozy room in which 3 nurses are sitting on old floral armchairs drinking cups of tea. Harriet, says Ginny to a pink-cheeked girl in glasses, this is Sadie's great-niece Laura. She wants that lovely dragonfly necklace that Sadie used to wear. Have you seen it? Oh gosh, why'd she have to put it like that? I sound like some horrible grasping person out of Scrooge. I don't want it for me, I say hastily. I want it for a good cause. It isn't in Sadie's box, Ginny explains. Do you know where it could be? Is it not? Harriet looks taken aback. Well, maybe it wasn't in the room. Now you mention it, I don't remember seeing it. I'm sorry, I know I should have taken an inventory, but we cleaned our room in a bit of a rush. She looks up at me defensively. We've been so stretched. Do you have any idea where it could have gone? I look at them helplessly. Could it have been put somewhere? Could it have been given to one of the other residents? The jumbo sale, pipes up a thin, dark-haired nurse sitting in the corner. It wasn't sold by mistake at the jumbo sale, was it? What jumbo sale? I swivel around to face her. It was a fundraiser 2 weekends ago. All the residents and their families donated stuff. There was a bric-a-brac stall with lots of jewelry. No, I shake my head. Sadie would never have donated this necklace. It was really special to her. Like I say, the nurse shrugs. They were going from room to room. There were boxes of stuff everywhere. Maybe it was collected by mistake. She sounds so matter-of-fact I suddenly feel livid on Sadie's behalf. But that kind of mistake shouldn't happen. People's stuff should be safe. Necklaces shouldn't just disappear. We do have a safe in the cellar, Ginny puts in anxiously. We asked residents to keep anything of real value in that. Diamond rings and so forth. If it was valuable, it should really have been locked up. It wasn't valuable exactly, I don't think. It was just important. I sit down, rubbing my forehead, trying to organize my thoughts. So, can we track it down? Do you know who is at this jumble sale? Doubtful looks are exchanged around the room, and I sigh. Don't tell me you have no idea. We do. The dark-haired nurse suddenly puts down her cup of tea. Have we still got the raffle list? The raffle list, says Jenny, brightening. Of course. Everyone who came to the sale bought a raffle ticket, she explains to me. They all left their names and addresses in case they won. The star prize was a bottle of Bailey's, she adds proudly, and we had a Yardley gift set. Do you have the list? I cut her off. Can you give it to me? 5 minutes later, I'm clutching at a 4-page photocopied list of names and addresses. There are 67 in all. 67 possibilities. No, possibilities is too strong a word. 67 outside chances. Well, thanks, I smile, trying not to feel too daunted. I'll investigate this lot, and if you do come across it... Of course, we'll all keep an eye out, won't we? Ginny appeals around the room, and there are 3 nods. I follow Ginny back through the hall, and as we approach the front door, she hesitates. We have a visitor's book, Laura. I don't know if you'd like to sign it? Oh, I hesitate awkwardly. Yes, why not? Ginny takes down a big red-bound book and leafs through it. All the residents have their own page, but Sadie never had very many signatures. So now that you're here, I thought it would be nice if you signed, even though she's gone. Ginny flushes. Is that silly of me? No, it's sweet of you. I feel a renewed guilt. We should have visited more. Here we are. Ginny's flipping through the cream pages. Oh, look. She did have one visitor this year, a few weeks ago. I was on holiday, so I missed it. Charles Reese, I read as I scrawl Laura Langton across the page, nice and big, to make up for the lack of other entries. Who's Charles Reese? Who knows, she shrugs. Charles Reese. I stare at the name, intrigued. Maybe he was Sadie's dearest friend from childhood, or her lover. Oh my gosh, yes, maybe he's a sweet old man with a cane who came to hold his dear Sadie's hand just one more time. Now he doesn't even know she's dead, and he wasn't invited to the funeral. We really are a crap family. Did he leave any contact details, this Charles Reese? I look up. Was he really old? I don't know. I can ask around, though. She takes the book from me, and her face lights up as she reads my name. Langton. Any relation to the coffee, Langton? Oh, gosh, I really cannot face it today. No, I smile weakly. Just a coincidence. Well, it's been a real pleasure to meet Sadie's great niece. As we reach the front door, she gives me a friendly hug. You know, Laura, I think you have a little of her in you. You both have the same spirit, and I can sense the same kindness. The nicer this nurse is to me, the crappier I feel. I'm not kind. I mean, look at me. I never even visited my great aunt. I don't do cycle rides for charity. Okay, I do buy the big issue sometimes, but not if I'm holding a cappuccino and it's too much hassle to reach for my purse. Jenny, a red-haired nurse beckons her. Can I have a quick word? She draws her to one side and murmurs under her breath. I just catch the odd words. Strange. Police. Police? Jenny's eyes have widened in surprise. Don't know. Number. Jenny takes a slip of paper, then turns to smile at me again. I manage a rictus grin, totally paralyzed with horror. The police? I'd forgotten about the police. I told them Sadie was murdered by the staff at the home. These lovely, saintly nurses. Why did I say that? What was I thinking? This is all Sadie's fault. No, it's not. It's my fault. I should have kept my big trap shut. Laura, Ginny peers at me in alarm. Are you alright? She's going to be accused of homicide, and she has no idea, and it's all my fault. I'm going to ruin everyone's career, and the home will be shut and boarded up, and all the old people will have nowhere to go. Laura, I'm fine, I manage at last in a grainy voice. Fine. But I have to go. I start backing out of the front door on wobbly legs. Thanks so much, bye. I wait until I'm down the path and safely back on the pavement, then whip out my phone and speed dial D.I. James's number, almost hyperventilating in panic. I should never have accused anyone of murder. I'm never, ever, ever doing that again. I'm going to confess everything, tear up my statement. D.I. James's office. A woman's crisp voice interrupts my thoughts. Hello. I try to sound calm. This is Lara Langton speaking. Could I speak to D.I. James or D.C. Davies? I'm afraid they're both out on calls. Can I take a message? If it's urgent. Yes, it's very, very urgent. It's to do with the murder case. Could you please tell D.I. James I've had a realization. A realization, she echoes, obviously writing it down. Yes, about my statement. Quite a crucial one. I think perhaps you should talk to D.I. James personally. No, this can't wait. You have to tell him it wasn't the nurses who murdered my great aunt. They didn't do a thing. They're wonderful, and it was all a terrible mistake, and, well, the thing is, I'm psyching myself up to bite the bullet and admit I invented the whole thing when suddenly I'm brought up short by a horrible thought. I can't confess everything. I can't admit I made the whole thing up. They'll instantly resume the funeral. I have a flashback to Sadie's anguish cry at the funeral service and feel a shiver of anxiety. I can't let that happen. I just can't. Yes, says the woman patiently. The thing is, my mind is doing double backflips trying to work out a solution that involves both being honest and buying time for Sadie. But I can't find one. There isn't one. And the woman's going to give up waiting in a minute and put the phone down. I have to say something. I need a red herring just to distract them for a while, just while I find the necklace. It was someone else, I blurt out. Man, it was him I overheard in the pub. I got confused before. He had a braided goatee beard, I add randomly, and a scar on his cheek. Remember it really clearly now. They'll never find a man with a braided goatee and a scar on his cheek. We're safe for now. A man with a braided beard. The woman sounds as if she's trying to keep up. And a scar. And I'm sorry, what is this man supposed to have done? Murdered my great aunt. I gave a statement, but it was wrong, so if you could just cancel it out. There's a rather long pause. Then the woman says, Dear, we don't just cancel out statements. I think D.I. James will probably want to talk to you himself. Oh gosh, the thing is I really, really don't want to talk to D.I. James. Fine, I say. I try to sound cheery. No problem. As long as he knows the nurses definitely didn't do it. If you could write that message on a post-it or something, the nurses didn't do it. The nurses didn't do it, she repeats dubiously. Exactly, in big capitals, and put it on his desk. There's another, even longer pause, and the woman says, Can I take your name again? Lara Langton. He'll know who I am. I'm sure he will. Well, as I say, Miss Langton, I'm sure D.I. James will be in touch. I ring off and head down the road, my legs weak. I think I just about got away with it, but honestly, I'm a nervous wreck. 2 hours later, I'm not just a nervous wreck, I'm exhausted. In fact, I'm taking a whole new, jaded view of the British populace. It might seem like an easy project, phoning a few people on a list and asking them if they bought a necklace. It might seem simple and straightforward until you actually tried it yourself. I feel like I could write a whole book on human nature, and it would be called People Are Really Unhelpful. First of all, they want to know how you got their name and phone number. Then, when you mention the word raffle, they want to know what they won, and even call out to their husband, Darren, we won that raffle. When you hastily tell them you didn't win anything, the mood instantly turns suspicious. Then, when you broach the subject of what they bought at the jumble sale, they get even more suspicious. They get convinced you're trying to sell them something or steal their credit card details by telepathy. At the third number I tried, there was some guy in the background saying, I've heard about this. They phone you up and keep you talking. It's an internet scam. Put the phone down, Tina. How can it be an internet scam? I wanted to yell. We're not on the internet. I've only had one woman so far who seemed to help. Eileen Roberts, and actually she was a total pain because she kept me on the line for 10 minutes, telling me about everything she bought at the jumble sale and saying what a shame it was, and then had I thought of making her a replacement necklace, as there was a wonderful bead shop in Bromley. Arg. I rubbed my ear, which was glowing from being pressed against the phone, and counted the scribbled out names on my list. 23, 44 to go. This was a crap idea. I'm never going to find this stupid necklace. I stretched out my back, then folded the list up and put it in my bag. I'll do the rest tomorrow, maybe. I head into the kitchen, pour myself a glass of wine, and I'm putting a lasagna in the oven when her voice says, "Did you find my necklace?" I start, crashing my forehead against the oven door, and look up. Sadie sitting on the sill of the open window. "Give me some warning when you're going to appear," I exclaim. "And anyway, where were you? Why did you suddenly abandon me?" "That place is deathly." She tosses her chin, "full of old people. I had to get away." She's speaking lightly, but I can tell she's freaked out by going back there. That must be why she disappeared for so long. "You were old," I remind her. "You're the oldest one there. Look, that's you." I reach in my jacket pocket and produce a picture of her, all wrinkled and white-haired. I see the briefest of flinches on Sadie's face before she brushes a scornful glance across the image. "That's not me." "It is. A nurse at the home gave it to me, and she said it was you on your 105th birthday. You should be proud. You got telegrams from the Queen and everything." "I mean, it's not me. I never felt like that. No one feels like that inside. This is how I felt." She stretches out her arms like this, a girl in my 20s, all my life. The outside is just cladding. "Well, anyway, you could have warned me you were leaving. You left me all alone." "So, did you get the necklace? Do you have it?" Sadie's face lights up with hope, and I can't help wincing. "Sorry, they had a box of your stuff, but the dragonfly necklace wasn't in there. Nobody knows where it's gone. I'm really sorry, Sadie." I brace myself for the tantrum, the banshee screaming, but it doesn't come. She just flickers slightly as though someone turned the voltage down. "But I'm on the case," I add. "I'm calling everyone who came to the jumbo sale in case they bought it. I've been on the phone all afternoon. It's been quite hard work, actually, and quite exhausting." I'm expecting some gratitude from Sadie at this point, some nice little speech about how brilliant I am and how appreciative she is of all my effort. But she sighs impatiently and wanders off through the wall. "You're welcome," I mouth after her. I head into the sitting room, and I'm flicking through the TV channels when she appears again. She seems to have cheered up immensely. "You live with some very peculiar people. There's a man upstairs lying on a machine, grunting." "What?" I stare at her. "Sadie, you can't spy on my neighbors." "What does shake your booty mean?" she says, ignoring me. "The girl on the wireless was singing it. It sounds like nonsense." "It means dance, let it all out." "But why your booty?" She still looks puzzled. "Does it mean wave your shoe?" "Of course not. Your booty is your—" I get up and pat my bum. "You dance like this." I do a few street dance moves, then look up to see Sadie in fits of giggles. "You look as though you've got convulsions. That's not dancing." "It's modern dancing." I glare at her and sit down. I'm a bit sensitive about my dancing, as it happens. I take a gulp of wine and look critically at her. She's peering at the TV now, watching EastEnders with wide eyes. "What's this?" "EastEnders, it's a TV show." "Why are they all so angry with one another?" "Dunno, they always are." I take another gulp of wine. I can't believe I'm explaining EastEnders and shake your booty to my dead great aunt. Surely we should be talking about something more meaningful. "Look, Sadie, what are you?" I say in impulse, zapping the TV off. "What do you mean, what am I?" She sounds affronted. "I'm a girl, just like you." "A dead girl," I point out, "so not exactly like me." "You don't have to remind me," she says frostily. I watch as she arranges herself on the edge of the sofa, obviously trying to look natural despite having zero gravity. "Do you have any special superhero powers?" I try another tack. "Can you make fire or stretch yourself really thin?" "No," she seems offended. "Anyway, I am thin." "Do you have an enemy to vanquish like Buffy?" "Who's Buffy?" "The Vampire Slayer." I explain. "She's on TV. She fights demons and vampires." "Don't be ridiculous," she cuts me off tartly. "Vampires don't exist." "Well, nor do ghosts," I retort, "and it's not ridiculous. Don't you know anything? Most ghosts come back to fight the dark forces of evil, or lead people to the light or something. They do something positive, not just sit around watching TV." JD shrugs as though to say, "What do I care?" I sip my wine, thinking hard. She's obviously not here to save the world from dark forces. Maybe she's going to shed light on mankind's plight or the meaning of life or something like that. Maybe I'm supposed to learn from her. So, you lived through the whole 20th century, I venture. That's pretty amazing. What was Winston Churchill like, or JFK? Do you think he really was killed by Lee Harvey Oswald? Sadie stares at me as though I'm a moron. How would I know? Because, I say defensively, because you're from history. What was it like living through World War II? To my surprise, Sadie looks quite blank. Don't you remember it? I say incredulously. Of course I don't remember it. She regains her composure. It was cold and dreary, and one's friends got killed, and I'd rather not think about it. She speaks crisply, but that little hesitation has pricked my curiosity. Do you remember your whole life? I ask cautiously. She must have memories spanning more than 100 years. How on earth can she keep hold of them all? Seems like a dream, murmurs Sadie almost to herself. Some parts are hazy. She's twirling her skirt around one finger, her expression distant. I remember everything I need to remember, she says at last. You choose what to remember, I offer. I didn't say that. Her eyes flash with some unfathomable emotion, and she wheels away from my gaze. She comes to rest in front of the mantelpiece and peers at a photo of me. It's a tourist gimmick from Madame Tussauds, and shows me grinning next to the waxwork of Brad Pitt. Is this your lover? She turns around. I wish, I say sardonically. Don't you have any lovers? She sounds so pitying, I feel a bit piqued. I had a boyfriend called Josh until a couple of months ago, but it's over, so I'm single at the moment. Sadie looks at me expectantly. Why don't you take another lover? Because I don't want to take another lover, I say. Nettled, I'm not ready. Why not? She seems perplexed. Because I loved him, and it's been really traumatic. He was my soulmate. We completely chimed. Why did he break it off then? I don't know. I just don't know. At least I have this theory. I trail off torn. It's still painful talking about Josh. But on the other hand, it's quite a relief to have someone fresh to download to. Okay, tell me what you think. I kick off my shoes, sit cross-legged on the sofa, and lean towards Sadie. We were in this relationship, and it was all going great. Is he handsome? She interrupts. Of course he's handsome. I pull out my phone, find the most flattering picture of him, and tilt it toward her. Here he is. She makes a so-so gesture with her head. Is that the best she can do? I mean, Josh is absolutely, definitively good looking. And that's not just me being biased. We met at this bonfire party. He's in IT advertising. I'm scrolling through, showing her other pictures. We just clicked. You know how you do? We used to spend all night talking. How dull. Sadie wrinkles her nose. I'd rather spend all night gambling. We were getting to know each other, I say, shooting her an offended look, like you do in a relationship. Did you go dancing? Sometimes, I say impatiently. That wasn't the point. The point was we were the perfect match. We talked about everything. We were wrapped up in each other. I honestly thought this was the one, but then I paused as my thoughts painfully retread old paths. Well, two things happened. First of all, there was this time when I did the wrong thing. We were walking past a jeweler's shop, and I said, that's the ring you can buy me. I mean, I was joking, but I think it freaked him out. Then, a couple of weeks later, one of his mates broke up from a long-term relationship. It was like shockwaves went through the group. The commitment thing hit them, and none of them could cope, so they all ran. All of a sudden, Josh was just backing off. Then he broke up with me, and he wouldn't even talk about it. I closed my eyes as painful memories start resurfacing. It was such a shock. He dumped me by email. By email. The thing is, I know he still cares about me. I bite my lip. I mean, the very fact he won't talk proves it. He's scared, or he's running away, or there's some other reason I don't know about. But I feel so powerless. I feel the tears brimming in my eyes. How am I supposed to fix it if he won't discuss it? How can I make things better if I don't know what he's thinking? I mean, what do you think? There's silence. I look up to see Sadie sitting with her eyes closed, humming softly. Sadie? Sadie! Oh, she blinks at me. Sorry, I do tend to go into a trance when people are droning on. Droning on? I wasn't droning on, I say with indignation. I was telling you about my relationship. Sadie is surveying me with fascination. You're terribly serious, aren't you? She says. No, I'm not, I say at once, defensively. What does that mean? When I was your age, if a boy behaved badly, one simply scored his name out from one's dance card. Yes, well, I try not to sound too patronizing. This is all a bit more serious than dance cards. We do a bit more than dance. My best friend, Bunty, was treated terribly badly by a boy named Christopher one New Year. In a taxi, you know? Sadie widens her eyes, but she had a little weep, powdered her nose again, and tally-ho, she was engaged before Easter. Tally-ho? I can't keep the scorn out of my voice. That's your attitude toward men? Tally-ho? What's wrong with that? What about proper balance relationships? What about commitment? Sadie looks baffled. Why do you keep talking about commitment? Do you mean being committed to a mental asylum? No, I try to keep my patience. I mean, look, were you ever married? Sadie shrugs. I was married for a spell. We had too many arguments. So wearing. And one begins to wonder why one ever liked the chap in the first place. So I left him. I went abroad to the Orient. That was in 1933. He divorced me during the war, cited me for adultery, she adds gaily. But everyone was too distracted to think about the scandal by then. In the kitchen, the oven pings to tell me my lasagna's ready. I wander through, my head buzzing with all this new information. Sadie was divorced. She played around. She lived in the Orient, wherever that's supposed to be. Should be in Asia. I hook out my lasagna and tip some salad onto my plate. Because that's what we call it these days. And by the way, we work at our relationships. Work? Sadie appears beside me, wrinkling her nose. That doesn't sound like any fun. Maybe that's why you broke up. It isn't. I feel like slapping her. She's so annoying. She doesn't understand anything. Count on us. She reads off my lasagna packet. What does that mean? It means it's low fat, I say a little reluctantly, expecting the usual lecture that Mom gives me about processed diet foods and how I'm a perfectly normal size, and girls these days are far too obsessed about weight. Oh, you're on a diet. Sadie's eyes light up. You should do the Hollywood diet. You eat nothing but 8 grapefruit a day, black coffee, and a hard-boiled egg, and plenty of cigarettes. I did it for a month, and the weight fell off me. A girl in my village swore she took tapeworm pills, she adds reminiscently, but she wouldn't tell us where she got them. I stare at her, feeling a bit revolted. Tapeworms? They gobble up all the food inside one, you know? Marvelous idea. I sit down and look at my lasagna, but I'm not hungry anymore. Partly because visions of tapeworms are now lodged in my mind. And partly because I haven't talked about Josh so openly for ages. I feel all turned up and frustrated. If I could just talk to him. I spear a piece of cucumber and stare at it miserably. If I could just get inside his head. But he won't accept my calls. He won't meet up. More talking? Sadie looks appalled. How are you going to forget him if you keep talking about him? Darling, when things go wrong in life, this is what you do. She adopts a knowledgeable tone. You lift your chin, put on a ravishing smile, mix yourself a little cocktail, and out you go. It's not as simple as that, I say resentfully. I don't want to forget about him. Some of us have hearts, you know. Some of us don't give up on true love. Some of us... I suddenly notice Sadie's eyes have closed and she's humming again. Trust me to get haunted by the flakiest ghost in the world. 1 minute shrieking in my ear, the next making outrageous comments, the next spying on my neighbors. I take a mouthful of lasagna and chew it crossly. I wonder what else she saw in my neighbor's flats. Maybe I could get her to spy on that guy upstairs when he's making a racket, see what he's actually doing. Wait, oh my gosh. I nearly choke on my food. With no warning, a new idea has flashed into my mind. A fully formed, totally brilliant plan. The plan that will solve everything. Sadie could spy on Josh. She could get into his flat, she could listen to his conversations, she could find out what he thinks about everything and tell me, and somehow I could work out what the problem is between us and solve it. This is the answer, this is it. This is why she was sent to me. Sadie! I leaped to my feet, powered by a kind of giddy adrenaline. I've worked it out. I know why you're here. It's to get me and Josh back together. No, it's not. Sadie objects at once. It's to get my necklace. Can't just be here for some crummy old necklace. I make a brushing aside gesture. Maybe the real reason is you're supposed to help me. That's why you were sent. I wasn't sent. Sadie appears mortally offended at the very idea. And my necklace isn't crummy. And I don't want to help you. You're supposed to be helping me. Who says? I bet you're my guardian angel. I'm getting carried away here. I bet you've been sent back to Earth to show me that actually my life is wonderful. Like in that movie. Sadie looks at me silently for a moment, then surveys the kitchen. I don't think your life's wonderful, she says. I think it's rather drab, and your haircut's atrocious. I glare at her furiously. You're a crap guardian angel. I'm not your guardian angel, she shoots back. How do you know? I clutch at my chest determinedly. I'm getting a very strong psychic feeling that you're here to help me get back together with Josh. The spirits are telling me. Well, I'm getting a very strong psychic feeling that I'm not supposed to get you back together with Josh. She retorts at once. The spirits are telling me. She's got a nerve. What would she know about spirits? Is she the one who can see ghosts? Well, I'm alive, so I'm boss, I snap, and I say you're supposed to help me. Otherwise, maybe I won't have time to look for your necklace. I didn't mean to put it quite as bluntly as that. Then she forced me into it by being so selfish. I mean, honestly, she should want to help her own great niece. Sadie's eyes flash angrily at me, but I can tell she knows she's caught out. Very well, she says at last, and her slim shoulders heave in a huge put-upon sigh. It's a terrible idea, but I suppose I have no choice. What do you want me to do? Chapter 6. I haven't felt as zippy as this for weeks, for months. It's 8 o'clock the next morning, and I feel like a brand new person. Instead of waking all depressed with a picture of Josh clutched in my tear-stained hand, a bottle of vodka on the floor, and Alanis Morissette playing on a loop. Okay, that was only the one time. But anyway, just look at me. Energetic, refreshed, straight eyeliner, crisp, stripy top. Ready to face the day and spy on Josh and get him back. I've even booked a cab to be efficient. I head into the kitchen to find Sadie sitting at the table in yet another dress. This one is mauve with panels of tulle and a draping effect at the shoulders. Wow, I can't help gasping. How come you have all these different outfits? Isn't it glorious? Sadie looks pleased with herself. And it's very easy, you know. I just imagine myself in a particular frock and it appears on me. So, is this one of your favorites? No, this belonged to a girl I knew called Cecily. Sadie smooths down the skirt. I always coveted it. You've pinched another girl's outfit? I can't help giggling. You've stolen it? I haven't stolen it, she says coldly. Don't be ridiculous. How do you know? I can't resist needling her. What if she's a ghost too and she wants to wear it today and she can't? What if she's sitting somewhere crying her eyes out? That's not how it works, says Sadie stonily. How do you know what works? How do you know? I break off as a sudden brilliant thought hits me. Hey, I've got it. You should just imagine your necklace. Just picture it in your head and then you'll have it. Quickly close your eyes. Think hard. Are you always this slow-witted? Sadie interrupts. I've tried that. I tried to imagine my rabbit fur cape and dancing shoes as well, but I couldn't get them. I don't know why. Maybe you could only wear ghost clothes, I say after a moment's consideration. Clothes that are dead too, like that have been shredded up or destroyed or whatever. We both look at the mauve dress for a few moments. It seems sad to think of it being shredded up. In fact, I wish I hadn't mentioned it. So, are you all set? I change the subject. If we go soon, we can catch Josh before he leaves for work. I take a yogurt out of the fridge and start spooning it into my mouth. Just the thought of being near Josh again is making me feel fizzy. I can't even finish my yogurt, I'm so excited. I put the half-eaten pot back in the fridge and dump the spoon in the sink. Come on, let's go. I pick up my hairbrush from its place in the fruit bowl and tuck it through my hair. Then I grab my keys and turn to see Sadie studying me. Goodness, your arms are plump, she says. I hadn't noticed before. They're not plump, I say offended. That's solid muscle. I clench my biceps at her and she recoils. Even worse. Complacently, she looks down at her own slender white arms. I was always renowned for my arms. Yeah, well, these days we appreciate a bit of definition. I inform her. We go to the gym. Are you ready? The taxi will be here in a minute. The buzzer goes and I lift the receiver. Hi, I'm just coming down. Lara, comes a familiar muffled voice. Darling, it's Dad. And Mom. Just popped around to check you're alright. We thought we'd catch you before work. I stare at the speakerphone in disbelief. Dad and Mom, of all the times, and what's all this with the popping around? Anyway, Mom and Dad never pop round. Great. I try to sound breezy. I'll be right down. I emerge from my building to find Mom and Dad standing on the pavement. Mom is holding a potted plant, and Dad is clutching a full Holland & Barrett bag, and they're talking in low voices. As they see me, they come forward with fake smiles as though I'm a mental patient. Lara, darling, I can see Dad's worried eyes scanning my face. You haven't replied to any of my texts or messages. We're getting worried. Oh, right. Sorry, I've been a bit busy. What happened at the police station, darling? Asked Mom, attempting to sound relaxed. It was fine. I gave them a statement. Oh, Michael. Mom closes her eyes in despair. So you really believe Great Aunt Sadie was murdered? I can tell Dad is as freaked out as Mom. Look, Dad, it's no big deal, I say reassuringly. Don't worry about me. Mom's eyes snap open. Vitamins, she says, and starts rooting in the Holland & Barrett bag. I asked the lady at the shop about behavioral. She stops herself. And lavender oil. And a plant can help with stress. You could talk to it. She tries to give me the potted plant, and I thrust it away impatiently. I don't want a plant. I'll forget to water it, and it'll die. You don't have to have the plant, says Dad in soothing tones, glancing warningly at Mom. But you've obviously been very stressed, what with the new business and Josh. They're so going to change their tune. They're so going to realize I was right all along when Josh and I get back together and get married. Not that I can say this right now, obviously. Dad, I give him a patient, reasonable smile. I told you I don't even think about Josh anymore. I'm just getting on with life. It's you who keeps bringing him up. That was quite clever. I'm just about to tell Dad that maybe he's obsessed with Josh when a taxi pulls up beside us on the pavement and a driver leans out. 32 Bickenhall Mansions? Damn. Okay, I'll just pretend I didn't hear him. Mom and Dad are exchanging looks. Isn't that where Josh lives? Says Mom tentatively. I don't remember, I say carelessly. Anyway, it's for someone else. 32 Bickenhall Mansions. The driver has leaned farther out of his cab, his voice raised higher. Lara Langton, you booked taxi? Bugger. Why are you going to Josh's flat? Mom stands beside herself. I'm not. I thought it must be some car I booked months ago finally turning up. They're always late. You're 6 months late. Go away. I shoot at the bemused driver, who eventually puts the car into gear and drives away. There's a kind of tense silence. Dad's expression is so transparent, it's endearing. He wants to believe the best in me. On the other hand, the evidence is all pointing one way. Lara, do you swear that taxi wasn't for you? He says at last. I swear, I nod. On Great Aunt Sadie's life. I hear a gasp and look around to see Sadie's eyes beaming fury at me. Couldn't think of anything else, I say defensively. Sadie ignores me and walks right up to Dad. You're fools, she says emphatically. She's still smitten with Josh. She's about to spy on him. And she's making me do her dirty work. Shut up, you sneak, I exclaim before I can stop myself. Sorry? Dad stares at me. Nothing, I clear my throat. Nothing, I'm fine. You're a lunatic. Sadie swivels around pityingly. At least I'm not haunting people, I can't help retorting. Haunting? Dad is trying to follow me. Lara, what on earth? Sorry, I smile at him, just thinking aloud. In fact, I was actually thinking about poor Great Aunt Sadie, I sigh, shaking my head pityingly. She has such sad little twiggy arms. They're not twiggy, Sadie glares back. She probably thought they were really attractive. Talk about deluded, I laugh gaily. Who wants pipe cleaners for arms? Who wants pillows for arms? Sadie shoots back, and I gasp in outrage. They're not pillows. Lara, says Dad faintly, what's not pillows? Mom looks like she wants to cry. She's still clutching onto her potted plant and a book entitled Stress-Free Living. You can achieve it. Anyway, after you get to work, I give Mom a huge hug. It's been brilliant to see you, and I'll read your book and take some vitamins, and I'll see you soon, Dad. I hug him too, don't worry. I blow them both kisses and hurry off along the pavement. When I reach the corner, I turn to wave, and they're both still standing there like waxworks. I do feel sorry for my parents, I really do. Maybe I'll buy them a box of chocolates. 20 minutes later, I'm standing outside Josh's building, feeling bubbly with exhilaration. Everything's going according to plan. I've located his window and explained the layout of the flat. Now it's up to Sadie. Go on, I say excitedly. Walk through the wall. This is so cool. I don't need to walk through the wall. She shoots me a disparaging look. I'll simply imagine myself inside his flat. Okay, well, good luck. Try to find out as much as you can, and be careful. Sadie disappears, and I crane my neck to survey Josh's window, but I can't see anything. I feel almost sick with anticipation. This is the nearest I've been to Josh in weeks. He's in there right now, and Sadie's watching him, and any minute she'll come out, and... He's not there. Sadie appears in front of me. Not there. I stare at her, affronted. Well, where is he? He doesn't usually leave for work till 9. I have no idea. She doesn't sound remotely interested. What does the place look like? I can't help probing for details. Is it a real mess? Like with old abandoned pizza boxes and beer bottles everywhere? Like he's been letting himself go? Like he doesn't really care about life anymore? No, it's very tidy. Lots of fruit in the kitchen, Sadie adds. I noticed that. Oh, well, he's obviously taking care of himself then. I hunch my shoulders, a bit discouraged. It's not that I want Josh to be an emotional wreck on the brink of meltdown exactly, but... Well, it would be quite flattering. Let's go, Sadie yawns. I've had quite enough of this. I'm not just leaving. Go in again. Look around for clues. Like, are there any photographs of me or anything? No, says Sadie at once. None, not a single one. You haven't even looked. I glare at her resentfully. Search on his desk. Maybe he's in the middle of writing a letter to me or something. Go on. Without thinking, I try to push her toward the building, but my hand sinks straight through her body. Urgh, I recoil, feeling squeamish. Don't do that, she exclaims. Did it hurt? I can't help glancing at my hands as though they really have just plunged through her innards. Not exactly, she says grudgingly, but it's not pleasant to have someone's hands poking through my stomach. She whisks off again. I try to damp down my agitation and wait patiently, but this is totally unbearable. Being stuck outside, if it were me searching, I'd find something, I know I would. Like a diary full of Josh's thoughts, or a half-written email unsent, or poetry, imagine that. I can't help sliding into a fantasy about Sadie coming across a poem scrawled on some cast-aside piece of paper. Something really simple and direct, just like Josh himself. It was all a mistake. Gosh, I miss you, Laura. I love your... I can't think of anything to rhyme with Laura. Wake up, Laura? I jump and open my eyes to see Sadie in front of me again. Did you find something, I gasp? Yes, as a matter of fact, I did. Sadie looks triumphant, something rather interesting and extremely relevant. Oh my gosh, what? I can hardly breathe as tantalizing possibilities flash through my mind. A photo of me under his pillow, a diary entry resolving to get back in touch with me. He's having lunch with another girl on Saturday. What? All my fantasies melt away. I stare at her, stricken. What do you mean he's having lunch with another girl? There is a memorandum pinned up in the kitchen, 12:30 lunch with Marie. I don't know anyone called Marie. Josh doesn't know anyone called Marie. Who's Marie? I can't contain my agitation. Who's Marie? Sadie shrugs. His new girlfriend? Don't say that, I cry in horror. He hasn't got a new girlfriend. He wouldn't have. He said there wasn't anyone else. He said... I trail off, my heart thumping. It never even occurred to me that Josh might be seeing another girl already. Never even crossed my mind. In his breakup email, he said he wasn't going to rush into anything new. He said he had to take time out to think about his whole life. Well, he hasn't thought for very long, has he? If I was going to think about my whole life, I'd take ages longer than 6 weeks. I'd take a year, at least. Maybe 2 or 3. Boys treat thinking like sex. They think it takes 20 minutes and then you're done and there's no point talking about it. They have no idea. Did it say where they're having lunch? Sadie nods. Bistro Martin. Bistro Martin? I think I'm going to hyperventilate. That's where we had our first date. We always used to go there. Josh is taking a girl to Bistro Martin, a girl called Marie. Go on again. I wave my hands agitatedly at the building. Search around. Find out more. I'm not going in again, objects Sadie. You found out all you need to know. Actually, she has a point. You're right. Abruptly, I turn and start walking away from the flat, so preoccupied that I nearly bump into an old man. Yes, you're right. I know which restaurant they're going to be at, and what time. I'll just go along and see for myself. No! Sadie appears in front of me, and I stop in surprise. It's not what I meant. You can't be intending to spy on them. I have to. I look at her perplexed. How else am I going to find out if Marie's his new girlfriend or not? You don't find out. You say good riddance, buy a new dress, and take another lover or several. I don't want several lovers, I say mulishly. I want Josh. Well, you can't have him. Give up. I'm so sick of people telling me to give up on Josh. My parents, Natalie, that old woman I got talking to on the bus once. Why should I give up? My words fly out on a swell of protest. Why does everyone keep telling me to give up? What's wrong with sticking to one single goal? In every other area of life, perseverance is encouraged. It's rewarded. I mean, they didn't tell Edison to give up on light bulbs, did they? They didn't tell Scott to forget about the South Pole. They didn't say, never mind, Scotty, there are plenty more snowy wastes out there. He kept trying. He refused to give up, however hard it got, and he made it. I feel quite stirred up as I finish, but Sadie is peering at me as though I'm an imbecile. Scott didn't make it. She says he froze to death. I glare at her resentfully. Some people are just so negative. Well, anyway, I turn on my heel and start stumping along the street. I'm going to that lunch. The worst thing a girl can do is trail after a boy when a love affair is dead, Sadie says disdainfully. Some faster, but she's no problem keeping up with me. There was a girl called Polly in my village. Frightful trailer. She was convinced this chap Desmond was still in love with her and followed him around everywhere. So we played the most ripping joke on her. We told her that Desmond was in the garden, hiding behind a bush, as he was too shy to talk to her directly. Then, when she came out, one of the boys read out a love letter, supposed to be from him. We'd written it ourselves, you know. Everyone was hiding behind the bushes, simply rocking. I can't help feeling a reluctant interest in her story. Didn't the other guy sound different? He said his voice was high from nerves. He said her presence reduced him to a trembling leaf. Polly replied that she understood because her own legs were like aspic. Sadie starts giggling. We all called her aspic for ages after that. That's so mean, I say in horror. She didn't realize it was a trick. Only when the bushes all started shaking around the garden. Then my friend Bunty rolled out onto the grass. She was laughing so hard and the game was up. Poor Polly. Sadie gives a sudden giggle. She was foaming. She didn't speak to any of us all summer. I'm not surprised, I exclaim. I think you were all really cruel. Anyway, what if their love affair wasn't dead? What if you ruined her chance of true love? True love, echoes Sadie with a derisive laugh. You're so old-fashioned. Old-fashioned? I echo incredulously. You're just like my grandmother with your love songs and your sighing. You even have a little miniature of your beloved in your handbag, don't you? Don't deny it. I've seen you looking at it. It takes me a moment to work out what she's talking about. It isn't a miniature, actually. It's called a mobile phone. Whatever it's called, you still look at it and make goo-goo eyes, and then you take your smelling salts out of that little bottle. That's a rescue remedy, I say furiously. Gosh, she's starting to wind me up. So, you don't believe in love, is that what you're saying? You were never in love? Not even when you were married? A passing postman shoots me a curious look, and I hastily put a hand to my ear as though adjusting an earpiece. I must start wearing one as camouflage. Sadie hasn't answered me, and as we reach the tube station, I stop dead to survey her. Suddenly genuinely curious. You're really never in love? There's the briefest pause, then Sadie flings her arms out with a rattle of bracelets, her head thrown back. I had fun. That's what I believe in. Fun, flings, the sizzle. What sizzle? That's what we called it, Bunty and I. Her mouth curves in a reminiscent smile. It starts as a shiver when you see a man for the first time, and then he meets your eye, and the shiver runs down your back and becomes a sizzle in your stomach, and you think, I want to dance with that man. And then what happens? You dance, you have a cocktail or two, you flirt, her eyes are shining. But I want to ask you shag him, but I'm not sure it's the kind of question you ask your 105-year-old great aunt. Then I remember the visitor from the nursing home. Hey, I raised my eyebrows. You can say what you like, but I know there was someone special in your life. What do you mean? She stares at me, suddenly tense. What are you talking about? A certain gentleman by the name of Charles Reese? I'm hoping to provoke a blush or gasp or something, but she looks blank. I've never heard of him. Charles Reese, he came to visit you in the nursing home a few weeks ago. Sadie shakes her head. I don't remember. The light in her eyes fades as she adds, I don't remember much about that place at all. Suppose you wouldn't, I pause awkwardly. You had a stroke years ago. I know, she glares at me. Gosh, doesn't have to be so touchy. It's not my fault. Suddenly, I realize my phone is vibrating. I pull it out of my pocket and see that it's Kate. Hi, Kate. Laura? Hi. I was wondering, are you coming into work today or not? She adds quickly as though she might have offended me by asking. I mean, either way is great. Everything's fine. Shit, I've been so absorbed in Josh, I'd almost forgotten about work. I'm on my way in, I say hastily. I was just doing a bit of research at home. Is anything up? It's Shireen. She wants to know what you've done about her dog. She sounded quite upset. In fact, she was talking about pulling out of the job. Oh gosh, I haven't even thought about Shireen and her dog. Could you phone her back and say I'm on the case and I'll call her really soon? Thanks, Kate. I put my phone away and massage my temples briefly. This is bad. Here I am out on the street, spying on my ex, completely abandoning my work crisis. I need to reorder my priorities. I need to realize what's important in life. I'll leave Josh until the weekend. We have to go. I reach for my Oyster card and start hurrying toward the tube. I've got a problem. Another man problem? Asked Sadie, wafting effortlessly along beside me. No, a dog problem. A dog? It's my client. I march down the tube steps. She wants to take her dog to work, and they're saying no, it's not allowed, but she's convinced there's another dog in the building. Why? Because she heard barking more than once, but, I mean, what am I supposed to do about it? I'm almost talking to myself now. I'm totally stuck. The Human Resources Department is denying there's any other dog, and there's no way to prove they're lying. Can't exactly get into the building and search every office. I stop in surprise as Sadie appears right in front of me. Maybe not her, I sparkle, but I can. Chapter 7. Macrosant is housed in a massive block on Kingsway, with big steps and a steel globe sculpture and plate glass windows. From the Costa Coffee across the road, I have a pretty good view of it. Anything dog-like, I'm instructing Sadie, behind an open copy of the Evening Standard. The sound of barking, baskets under desks, dog toys. I take a sip of cappuccino. I'll stay here. Thanks. The building's so massive I could be waiting here a while. I flick through my Evening Standard and slowly nibble my way through a chocolate brownie, and I'm just ordered a fresh cappuccino when Sadie materializes in front of me. Her cheeks are flushed and her eyes are shiny and she's glowing all over. I pull out my mobile phone, smile at the girl at the next table, and pretend to dial a number. So, I say into the phone, did you find a dog? Oh, that, Sadie says, as though she'd forgotten all about it. Yes, there's a dog, but guess what? Where? I cut her off in excitement. Where's the dog? Up there, she gestures, in a basket under a desk. It's the dearest little Pekingese. Can you get a name, an office number, anything like that? Thank you. She vanishes and I sip my new cappuccino, hugging myself. Shireen was right all along. Jean lied to me. Wait until I get on the phone with her. Just wait. I'm going to demand a full apology and full office rights for Flash, and maybe a new dog basket as a goodwill gesture. I glance through the window and suddenly spot Sadie drifting along the pavement and back toward the coffee shop. I feel a tiny spike of frustration. She doesn't seem in any hurry at all. Doesn't she realize how important this is? I'm ready with my mobile as soon as she enters. Everything okay? I demand. Did you find the dog again? She says vaguely, yes, the dog. It's on floor 14, room 1416, and its owner is Jane Frenshaw. I just met the most delicious man. She hugs herself. What do you mean you met a man? I'm scribbling it all quickly on a piece of paper. You can't meet a man. You're dead. Unless... I look up with a sudden thrill. Ooh, have you met another ghost? He's not a ghost, she shakes her head impatiently, but he's divine. He was talking in one of the rooms I walked through, just like Rudolph Valentino. Who? I say blankly. The film star, of course. Tall and dark and dashing, instant sizzle. Sounds lovely, I say absently. And he's just the right height, Sadie continues, swinging her legs on a bar stool. I measured myself against him. My head would rest on his shoulder perfectly if we went dancing together. Great. I finish writing, grab my bag, and stand up. Okay, I need to get back to the office and sort this out. I head out of the door and start hurrying toward the tube, but to my surprise, Sadie blocks my way. I want him. I'm sorry? I peer at her, flicking my mobile open out of habit. The man I just met, I felt it right here, the sizzle. She presses her concave stomach. I want to dance with him. Is she joking? Well, that would be nice, I say at last in placatory tones, but I've really got to get to the office. As I move forward, Sadie thrusts a bare arm across my path and I stop, taken aback. Do you know how long it's been since I've danced? She says with sudden passion. Do you know how long it's been since I've shaken my booty? All those years trapped in an old woman's body, in a place with no music, with no life. I feel a rub of guilt inside as I remember the picture of Sadie, ancient and wrinkled in her pink shawl. Okay, I say quickly, fair enough. So let's dance at home. We'll put on some music, dim the lights, have a little party. I don't want to dance at home to the wireless, she says scornfully. I want to go out with a man and enjoy myself. You want to go on a date? I say disbelievingly, and her eyes light up. Yes, exactly. A date with a man, with him, she points at the building. What exactly is it about being a ghost that she doesn't understand? Sadie, you're dead. I know, she says in irritation. You don't have to keep reminding me. So you can't go on a date? Sorry, that's the way it is. I shrug and start walking on again. 2 seconds later, Sadie lands in front of me once more, her jaw set. Ask him for me. What? I can't do it on my own. Her voice is fast and determined. I need a go-between. If you go out with him on a date, I can go out with him on a date. If you dance with him, I can dance with him too. She's serious. I almost want to burst out laughing. You want me to go on a date for you, I say to clarify, with some random guy I don't know, so you can have a dance. I just want one last little burst of fun with a handsome man while I still have the chance. Sadie's head falls forward and her mouth pouts into the sad little O shape again. One more whirl around a dance floor, that's all I ask before I disappear from this world. Her voice descends to a low, pitiful whisper. It's my last desire, my final wish. It's not your final wish, I say a bit indignantly. You already had your final wish. It was searching for your necklace, remember? For an instant, Sadie looks caught out. This is my other final wish, she says at last. Look, Sadie, I try to sound reasonable. I can't just ask a stranger on a date. You'll have to do without this one. Sorry. Sadie is surveying me with such a silent, quivering, wounded expression that I wonder if I somehow stepped on her foot. You're really saying no, she says at last, her voice cracking as though with emotion. You're really refusing me. One last innocent wish. One tiny request. Look, I was in the nursing home for years. Never any visitors, never any laughter, never any life. Just soledness and loneliness and misery. Oh gosh, you can't do this to me. It's not fair. Every Christmas all alone. Never a visitor, never a present. It wasn't my fault, I say feebly, but Sadie ignores me. And now I see the chance of a sliver of happiness, a morsel of pleasure, in my own callous, selfish great niece. Okay. I stop in my tracks over my forehead. Okay, whatever, fine, I'll do it. Everyone in my life thinks I'm a lunatic anyway. Asking a stranger on a date will make no difference. In fact, my dad will probably be delighted. You're an angel. Sadie's mood has instantly flipped to giddy excitement. She whirls around on the pavement, the panels on her dress flying out. I'll show you where he is. Come on. I follow her toward the massive steps and push my way into the huge double-height foyer. If I'm going to do this, I need to do it very quickly before I change my mind. So where is he? I look around the echoing marble chamber. In a room upstairs. Come on. She's like a puppy straining the leash. I can't just walk into an office building, I hiss back, gesturing at the electronic security barriers. I need a plan. I need an excuse. Aha. In the corner is a stand with a sign Global Strategy Seminar. A pair of bored-looking girls are sitting behind a table of name badges. They'll do. Hi, I approach briskly. Sorry I'm late. No problem, I've only just started. One of the girls sits up and reaches for her list, while the other stares resolutely at the ceiling. And you are... Sarah Conway, I say, grabbing a name badge at random. Thanks, I'd better get going. I hurry to the security barriers, flash my name badge at the guard, and hurry through into a wide corridor with expensive-looking artwork on the walls. I have no idea where I am. The building holds about 20 different companies, and the only one I've ever visited is Macrosant, which is on floors 11 through 17. Where's this guy, then? I murmured to Sadie out of the side of my mouth. 20th floor. I head for the lifts, nodding a business-like way at all the other passengers. At floor 20, I get out of the lift and find myself in another massive reception area. 20 feet away from where I'm standing is a granite-colored desk manned by a scary-looking woman in a gray suit. A plaque on the wall says Turner Murray Consulting. Wow, Turner Murray are the really brainy ones who get asked to sort out big businesses. This guy must be pretty high-powered, whoever he is. Come on. Sadie is dancing ahead toward a door with a security panel. A pair of men in suits strides past, and one of them gives me a curious look. I hold my phone up to my ear to discourage conversation and follow the men. As we reach the door, one of the men punches in a code. Thanks, I nod in my most businesslike way and follow them in. Gavin, I've told you the European figures don't make sense, I say into my phone. The taller man hesitates as though he's going to challenge me. Shit. I hastily increase my speed and walk straight past them. I have a meeting in 2 minutes, Gavin, I say hastily. I want those updated figures on my BlackBerry. Now I have to go and talk about percentages. There's a ladies' room on the left. Trying not to run, I hurry into it and duck into a marble-clad cubicle. What are you doing? Sadie demands, materializing right in the cubicle with me. Honestly, does she have no idea of privacy? What do you think I'm doing? I reply under my breath. We need to wait a bit. I sit it out for 3 minutes, then head out of the ladies. The 2 men have disappeared. The corridor is empty and quiet, just a long stretch of pale gray carpet and occasional water machines and blonde wood doors leading off on either side. I can hear the hum of conversation, occasional small computer sounds. So, where is he? I turn to Sadie. She's peering around. One of these doors along here. She heads along the corridor, and I follow cautiously. This is surreal. What am I doing? Roaming around a strange office building looking for a strange man? Yes, Sadie appears by my side, glowing. He's in there. He has the most penetrating eyes. Absolutely shiversome. She points to a solid wooden door labeled Room 2012. There's no window or even a tiny glass panel. I can't see anything inside. Are you sure? I've just been inside. He's there. Go on, ask him. Her hands are trying to push me. Wait, I take a few steps away, trying to think this all through. I can't just blunder in. I have to make a plan. 1, knock and enter a strange guy's office. 2, say hello in natural, pleasant manner. 3, ask him out on date. 4, almost die of embarrassment as he calls security. 5, leave very, very swiftly. 6, do not give my name under any circumstances. That way, I can run away and blank the whole thing from my memory, and nobody will ever know it was me. Maybe he'll even think he dreamed it. The whole thing will take 30 seconds max, and then Sadie will have to stop pestering me. Okay, let's get it over with. I approach the door, trying to ignore the fact that my heart is suddenly galloping with nerves. I take a deep breath, raise my hand, and knock gently. You didn't make any sound, exclaims Sadie behind me. Knock harder. Then just walk in. He's in there. Go on. Squeezing my eyes, I rap sharply, twist the door handle, and take a step inside the room. 20 suited people seated around a conference table all turn to look at me. A man at the far end pauses in his PowerPoint presentation. I stare back frozen. It's not an office, it's a conference room. I'm standing in a company I don't belong to, in a great big meeting I don't belong to, and everyone's waiting for me to speak. Sorry, I stammer at last. I don't want to interrupt. Carry on. Out of the corner of my eye, I've noticed a couple of empty seats. Barely knowing what I'm doing, I pull a chair out and sit down. The woman next to me eyes me uncertainly for a moment, then pushes along a pad, paper, and pen. Thanks, I murmur back. I don't quite believe this. No one's told me to leave. Don't they realize I don't belong here? The guy at the front has resumed his speech, and a few people are scribbling notes. Surreptitiously, I look around the table. There are about 15 men in this room. Sadie's guy could be any of them. There's a sandy-haired guy across the table who looks cute. The man giving the presentation is quite good-looking, too. He has wavy dark hair and pale blue eyes, and the same tie I bought Josh for his birthday. He's gesturing at a graph and talking with an animated voice. And client satisfaction ratings have increased year on year. Stop right there. A man standing at the window, whom I hadn't even noticed before, turns around. He has an American accent, a dark suit, and chestnut-colored hair, brushed straight back. There's a deep V-shaped frown between his eyebrows, and he's looking at the wavy-haired guy as though he represents some great personal disappointment to him. Client satisfaction ratings aren't what we're about. I don't want to perform work that a client rates as an A. I want to perform work that I rate as an A. The man with wavy hair looks wrong-footed, and I feel a stab of sympathy for him. Of course, he mumbles. The emphasis in this room is all wrong. The American guy frowns around the table. We're not here to perform tactical quick fixes. We should be influencing strategy, innovating. Since I've been over here, I tune out as I notice Sadie sliding into the chair next to me. I scribble which man and push my pad across. The one who looks like Rudolph Valentino, she says, as though surprised I even need to ask. For gosh sakes, how would I know what bloody Rudolph Valentino looks like? I scribble. Which one? I'm betting on the wavy-haired guy, unless it's the blonde guy sitting right here at the front. He looks quite nice. Or maybe that chap with the goatee. Him, of course. Sadie points to the other side of the room. The man giving the presentation? All right, just to confirm it. No, silly, she giggles. Him. She appears in front of the American man with the frown and gazes at him longingly. Isn't he a dove? Him? Oops, I spoke out loud. Everyone turns to look at me, and I hastily try to sound as though I'm clearing my throat. Seriously, him? I write on my pad of paper. She returns to my side. He's delicious, she says in my ear, sounding affronted. I survey the American guy dubiously, trying to be fair. I suppose he's quite good-looking in that classic preppy way. His hair springs up from a broad, square brow. He has the hint of a tan, and dark wrist hair is visible inside his immaculate white cuffs, and his eyes are penetrating. He's got that magnetic quality that leaders always seem to have. Strong hands and gestures. As he speaks, he commands attention. But honestly, he's so totally not my sort. Too intense, too frowny. And everyone else in the room seems terrified of him. Speaking of which, he picks up a plastic folder and skims it deftly across the table toward the goatee beer guy. Last night I put together some points with regard to the Morris Vakuhara consultation. Just a memo. Might help. Oh, goatee beard guy looks utterly taken aback. Well, thanks, I appreciate it. He flips through wonderingly. Can I use this? That's the general idea, says the American guy with a smile so wry and brief, you'd miss it if you blinked. So, regarding the final point, from my place at the back, I can see goatee beard guy leafing through the typed pages agog. When the hell did he have time to do this? He mutters to his neighbor, who shrugs. I have to go. The American guy suddenly consults his watch. My apologies for hijacking the meeting. Simon, please continue. I have just one question. The sandy-haired man hurriedly raises his hand. When you're talking about innovating procedure, do you mean... Quick! Sadie's voice suddenly resounds in my ear, making me jump. Ask him on a date. He's leaving. You promised. Do it. Okay, I scroll, flinching. Just give me a second. Sadie stalks the other side of the room and watches me expectantly. After a while, she starts making impatient. Come on, gestures with her hands. Mr. American Frown has finished answering the sandy-haired guy and is pushing some papers into his briefcase. Hey, I can't do this. It's ludicrous. Go on. Sadie's voice blasts my eardrum again. Ask. Blood is pulsating around my head. My legs are trembling under the table. Somehow I force myself to raise a hand. Excuse me? I say in an embarrassed squeak. Mr. American Frown turns and surveys me, looking puzzled. I'm sorry, I don't think we've been introduced. You'll have to excuse me, I'm in a hurry. I have a question. Everyone around the table has swiveled to look at me. I can see a man whispering, "Who's that?" to his neighbor. Okay, he sighs. One more quick question. What is it? It's just, I wanted to ask. My voice is jumping. I clear my throat. Would you like to go out with me? There's a stunned silence apart from someone spluttering on their coffee. My face is boiling hot, but I hold steady. I can see a few astounded looks passing between the people on the table. Excuse me? Says the American man, looking bewildered. Like on a date? I risk a little smile. Suddenly, I'm aware of Sadie beside him. Say yes! She shrieks into his ear, so loudly that I want to flinch on his behalf. Say yes! Say yes! To my astonishment, I can see the American man reacting. He's cocking his head as though he can hear some distant radio signal. Can he hear her? Young lady, says a gray-haired man curtly, this really isn't the time or place. I don't mean to interrupt, I say humbly. I won't take up much time. I just need an answer one way or the other. I turn to the American man again. Would you like to go out with me? Say yes. Say yes! Sadie's yelling increases to an unbearable level. This is unreal. The American man can definitely hear something. He shakes his head and takes a couple of steps away, but Sadie follows him, still yelling. His eyes are glazed and he looks like he's in a trance. No one else in the room is moving or speaking. They all seem pinioned by shock. One woman has her hand clapped across her face as though she's watching a train wreck. Say yes! Sadie's starting to sound hoarse as she screams. Right now, say it! Say yes! It's almost comical, the sight of her yelling so hard and only getting the faintest reaction. But as I watch, I only feel pity. She looks so powerless, as though she's shouting behind a sheet of glass, and the only one who can hear her properly is me. Sadie's world must be so frustrating. I find myself thinking, she can't touch anything, she can't communicate with anyone. It's obvious she's never going to get through to this guy. Yes, the American man nods desperately. My pity dies away. Yes? There's a gasp all around the table and a hastily stifled giggle. Everyone immediately turns to gape at me, but I'm temporarily too dumbfounded to reply. He said yes. Does this mean I actually have to go on a date with him? Great. I try to gather my wits. So let's be in touch, shall we? My name's Laura Langton. By the way, here's my card. I scrabble in my bag. I'm Ed. The man still looks dazed. Ed Harrison? He reaches into his inside pocket and produces his own business card. So, bye then, Ed. I pick up my bag and hurriedly beat a retreat to the sound of a growing hubbub. I can hear someone saying, "Who the bloody hell was that?" And a woman saying in an urgent undertone, "You see, you just have to have the guts. You have to be direct with men. Stop the games, lay it out there. If I'd known at her age what that girl knows, what I know? I don't know anything except I need to get out of here." Chapter 8. I'm still in a state of shock as Sadie catches up with me, halfway across the ground floor reception lobby. My mind keeps rerunning the scene in total disbelief. Sadie communicated with that man. He actually heard her. I'm not sure how much he heard, but obviously enough. Isn't he a peach? She says dreamily. I knew he'd say yes. What went on in there? I mutter incredulously. What's with the shouting? Thought you couldn't talk to anyone except me. Talking's no good, she agrees, but I've noticed that when I really let off a socking great scream right in someone's ear, most people seem to hear something faint. It's terribly hard work, though. Have you done this before? Have you spoken to anyone else? I know it's ridiculous, but I feel the tiniest bit jealous that she can get through to other people. Sadie is my ghost. Oh, I had a few words with the queen, she says airily, just for fun. Are you serious? Maybe. She shoots me a wicked little smile. It's hell in the old vocal cords, though. I always have to give up after a while. She coughs and rubs her throat. I thought I was the only person you were haunting. I can't help saying childishly. I thought I was special. You're the only person I can be with instantly, says Sadie after pondering a moment. I just had to think of you and I'm with you. Oh, Secretly, I feel quite pleased to hear this. So where do you think he'll take us? Sadie looks up, her eyes sparkling. The Savoy? I adore the Savoy. My attention is wrenched back to the present situation. She seriously envisages all three of us going on a date together. A weird, freaky threesome with a ghost date. Okay, Laura, stay sane. That guy won't really claim a date. He'll tear up my card and blame the incident on his hangover/drug habit/stress levels. And I'll never see him again. Feeling more confident, I stride toward the exit. It's enough craziness for one day. I have things to do. As soon as I get back to the office, I put a call through to Jean, lean back in my swivel chair, and prepare to relish the moment. Jean Seville. Oh, hi, Jean, I say pleasantly. It's Lara Lincoln here. I'm just calling about your no-dog policy again. Should I totally understand and applaud? I can absolutely see why you'd wish to keep your workplace an animal-free zone. But I was just wondering why this rule doesn't extend to Jane Frenchum in room 1416. Ha, I've never heard Jean so squirmy. At first, she denies it altogether. Then she tries to say it's due to special circumstances and doesn't set any precedent. But it only takes one mention of lawyers and European rights for her to cave in. Shireen can bring Flash to work. It's going to be put in her contract tomorrow, and they're throwing in a dog basket. I put down the phone and dial Shireen's number. She's going to be so happy. Finally, this job is fun. And it's even more fun when Shireen gasps incredulously over the phone. I couldn't imagine anyone at Sturgis Curtis taking the same trouble. She keeps saying, this is the difference when you work with a smaller outfit. Boutique, I correct her. We have the personal touch. Tell all your friends. I will. I'm so impressed. How'd you find out about the other dog, by the way? I hesitate briefly. Ways and means, I say finally. Well, you're brilliant. At last I put the phone down, glowing, and look up to see Kate gazing at me with avid curiosity. How did you find out about the other dog, she says. Instincts, I shrug. Instincts? Echoes Sadie derisively, who's been wandering about the office throughout. You didn't have any instincts, it was me. You should say, my marvelous great Aunt Sadie helped me, and I'm extremely grateful. You know, Natalie would never have bothered tracking down a dog, says Kate suddenly. Never, not in a million years. Oh, my glow dims. Suddenly looking at the whole thing through Natalie-type business eyes, I feel a little unprofessional. Maybe it was a bit ridiculous to spend so much time and effort on one dog. Well, I just wanted to save the situation. It seemed the best way. No, you don't understand. Kate cuts me off, pink in the face. I meant it in a good way. I'm so taken aback I don't know what to say. No one's ever compared me favorably to Natalie before. I'll go on a coffee run to celebrate, Kate says brightly. Do you want anything? It's okay, I smile at her. You don't have to do that. Actually, Kate looks awkward. I'm a bit ravenous. I haven't had our lunch break yet. Oh gosh, I say. Paul, go, have lunch. You'll starve. Kate leaps up, bashing her head on an open file drawer, and pulls her bag down off a high shelf. The minute she's closed the door behind her, Sadie comes over to my desk. So, she perches on the edge and regards me expectantly. What is it? Are you going to ring him? Who? Him! She leans right over my computer. Him! You mean Ed What's-It? You want me to ring him? I shoot her a pitying glance. Do you have no idea how things work? If he wants to ring, he can ring. Which he won't in a million years, I silently add. I delete a few emails and type a reply, then look up again. Sadie is sitting on top of a filing cabinet, staring fixedly at the phone. As she sees me looking, she jumps and quickly looks away. Now who's obsessing over a man? I can't help a little dig. I'm not obsessing, she says haughtily. If you watch the phone, it doesn't ring. Don't you know anything? Sadie's eyes flash angrily at me, but she turns away and starts examining the blinds cord, as though she wants to analyze every fiber. Then she wanders over to the opposite window, and she looks at the phone again. I could really do without a lovelorn ghost trailing around my office when I'm trying to work. Why don't you go sightseeing, I suggest? You could look at the Gherkin building or go to Harrods. I've been to Harrods, she wrinkles her nose. It looks very peculiar these days. I'm about to suggest that she go for a long, long walk in Hyde Park when my mobile trills. Like lightning, Sadie is by my side, watching eagerly as I check the display. Is it him? Is it him? I don't know the number, I shrug. Could be anyone. It's him, she hugs herself, telling me we want to go to the Savoy for cocktails. Are you crazy? I'm not saying that. This is my date, and I want to go to the Savoy, she says mulishly. Shut up, or I won't answer. We glare at each other as the phone trills again, then Sadie takes a reluctant step backward, her cheeks pouchy. Hello? Is this Lara? It's a woman I don't recognize. It's not him, okay? I hiss at Sadie. I make a shooing away motion at her, then turn back to the phone. Yes, Lara speaking. Who's this? It's Nina Martin. You left a message about a necklace at the old folks' jumble sale? Oh, yes, I'm suddenly alert. Did you buy one? I bought 2, black pearls and a red one. Good condition. I can sell them both to you if you like. I was planning to put them on eBay. No, I deflate. They're not what I'm looking for. Thanks anyway. I take out the list and scribble off Nina Martin's name while Sadie watches critically. Why haven't you tried all the names? She demands. I'll phone somewhere this evening. I have to work now. I add at her look. Sorry, but I do. Sadie heaves a huge sigh. All this waiting is unbearable. She swishes over to my desk and stares at the phone. Then she swishes to the window, then back to the phone. There's no way I can sit here all afternoon with her swishing and sighing. I'm going to have to be brutally honest. Look, Sadie. I wait until she turns. About Ed, you should know the truth. He won't call. Well, what do you mean he won't call? Sadie retorts. Of course he will. He won't. I shake my head. There's no way on earth he's going to call some loony girl who blagged her way into his meeting. He's going to throw my card away and forget all about it. Sorry. Sadie is staring at me with reproach, as though I've deliberately set out to dash all her hopes. Not my fault, I say defensively. I'm just trying to let you down lightly. He's going to call, she says with slow determination, and we're going to go on a date. Fine, whatever you think. I turn to my computer and start typing. When I glance up, she's gone, and I can't help breathing out in relief. Finally, some space, some silence. I'm in the middle of typing a confirmation email to Jean about Flash when the phone rings. I pick it up absently and cradle the receiver under my chin. Hello. Hi there. An awkward-sounding male voice comes over the phone. This is Ed Harrison. I freeze. Ed Harrison? Hi. I look wildly around the office for Sadie, but she's nowhere. So, I guess we're going on a date, says Ed stiffly. I guess we are. We sound like a pair of people who've won an outing in a raffle and don't know how to get out of it. There's a bar in St. Christopher's Place, he says. The Crow Bar. You want to have a drink there? I can read his mind instantly. He's suggesting a drink because that's about the quickest date you can have. He really doesn't want to do this, so why did he call? Is he so old-fashioned and polite that he felt he couldn't blow me off, even though, for all he knows, I could be a serial killer? Good idea, I say brightly. Saturday night, 7:30. See you there. As I put the phone down, I feel surreal. I'm actually going on a date with Mr. American Frown, and Sadie has no idea. Sadie, I look around. Sadie, can you hear me? You don't believe it? He called. I know, comes Sadie's voice from behind me, and I swivel around to see her sitting on the windowsill, looking totally unruffled. You missed it, I say in excitement. Your guy called. We're going on a... I break off as it hits me. Oh my gosh, you did this, didn't you? You went and shouted at him. Of course I did, she says proudly. It was simply too dreary waiting for him to call, so I decided to give him a little nudge. Her eyebrows lowered disapprovingly. You were right, by the way. He had thrown the card away. It was in his bin, all crumpled up. He wasn't planning to call you at all. She looks so outraged I have to bite back a laugh. Welcome to 21st century dating. How'd you change his mind? It was terribly hard work. Sadie looks affronted. First, I just told him to call you, but he absolutely ignored me. He kept turning away from me and typing more quickly. Then I got really close and told him if he didn't call you and fix a date at once, he'd be cursed with illness by the god Ahab. Who's that? I asked incredulously. He was in a penny novel I once read. Sadie looks pleased with herself. I said he'd lose the use of his limbs and be covered with grotesque warts. I could see him waver, but he was still trying to ignore me, so then I looked at his typewriter. Computer, I interject. Whatever it is. She says impatiently. I told him it would break down and he would lose his job unless he called you. Her mouth curves into a reminiscent smile. He moved quite quickly after that. Although, even when he was picking up the card, he kept clutching his head and saying to himself, why am I calling this girl? Why am I doing this? So I yelled in his ear, you want to call her. She's very pretty. Sadie tosses her hair back triumphantly, and so he telephones you. Aren't you impressed? I gazed back at her, speechless. She's blackmailed this guy into going on a date with me. She's messed with his mind. She's forced him into a romance that he had no intention of pursuing. She is the only woman I've ever known who can make a man call, ever. Okay, it took supernatural powers, but she did it. Great Aunt Sadie, I say slowly, you're brilliant.